In Pit Lane. Proudly brought to you by the Australian Sports Sedan Association, presenting the Grunt Performance Victorian Sports Sedan Championship, and with thanks to Slipstream Race Graphics. Coming to you live on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel, on Facebook Live, and of course right around Melbourne and Geelong on Channel 31, on delay and edited with all of the good stuff left in and all of the bad stuff removed and cast off into the eternal hell that is the online world. Now, coming up this weekend, drag racing is just around the corner. Yes, we look at what's happening out at Calder and all that. We think, oh, there's not a lot of drag racing happening in Victoria, but you would be wrong, because drag racing in the regional sections is booming. We've got new tracks. Coming up this weekend, we're going to be up at Mildura. There's a new track in Swan Hill. Things are happening everywhere. And to join us a little bit later to talk about the local drag racing scene right here in Victoria is Matt Czerny. He's going to be joining us a little bit later on in the program. Also joining us for some live music, Melbourne singer-songwriter Steve Lucas will be joining us, so stay tuned for that. But look, it was a biggish weekend with in motorsport, certainly things happening locally and internationally. And now this is the In Pit Lane Motorsport News.
A real dominant car, and we put in a great performance, so couldn't be happier for everyone in the crew. And for AAA, we just celebrated our 15th birthday last month, and to have a 1, 2, 3 at one of the biggest events of the year, very, very satisfying. All three cars were really, really fast this weekend, and it's good to get some reward from the hard work that's going on behind the scenes. And no doubt all the other teams will throw everything at us come Bathurst, and we're expecting a red hot battle.
Yeah, I think you got to put it in perspective. Last year we were quite strong here. Obviously we didn't get the result we wanted, but we went to Bathurst and we certainly weren't anywhere near the money. So, hey, no doubt the team will go back, really learn about what happened last year, take the learnings from this weekend, and we'll put our best foot forward.
And that was, of course, Jamie Whincup and Paul Dumbrell, winners of the Sandown 500 yesterday. 888 absolutely dominated the event. The car of Dumbrell and Whincup basically took the lead at turn 1 and were never headed from then on. Their teammates, Shane Van Gisbergen and Earl Bamber, came from behind for a very strong second place, which strengthens Shane Van Gisbergen's lead in the current Australian Championship. Third place went to the other 888 car with crowd favourites Craig Lowndes and Stephen Richards. The first of the Fords home in fourth place was the team of Scott McLaughlin and Alexander Premer. They'll be getting ready to head to Bathurst in a few weeks' time, where obviously everybody who isn't called Red Bull Holden Racing or 888 has an awful lot of work to do. We'll have more news in a moment. The reason I'm saying that we'll have more news in a moment is because, to let you know into a secret, for those of you watching live, is that's all the news that is actually finished at the moment. But if you want to watch the rest of the news, with all the exciting stuff from NASCAR and NHRA, Super GT and a whole lot more, we'll be watching Channel 31, Thursday, 8:30, right across Melbourne and Geelong. We will put something up on the YouTube channel a little bit later on, and the inpitlane.com as well. But right now, what I will do is I will go back into Channel 31 mode and say, and we're going to take a break right now here on In Pit Lane. But in just a moment, we'll be back with our special guest, Matt Czerny. So for all of us here at In Pit Lane, please stay tuned, watching these important words from our sponsors. Okay, and we can get Matt on, please, if we can get him on. Yes, look, I'll let you know what happened with our news. Basically, some idiot pressed the wrong button there. So, yes, we will have news in just a moment. And while Matt gets himself into position, we'd like to say once again thank you to our sponsors, the Australian Sports Sedan Association. Entries are pouring in for round 4 of the Grunt Performance Victorian Sports Sedan Championship coming up at Phillip Island. And, of course, you can be there to see it live. It's a fabulous motorsport weekend, and it's accessible for all the whole family. You can sit and watch in the comfort of your car, cross the bridge, take a walk around the paddock. You can see the cars close up. You can actually meet and talk to the drivers. There's no extra charge for paddock access. And look, it's a great way to introduce your family and friends to motorsport in an affordable, friendly environment. Now, you'll see a diverse range of cars at the event, from 700 horsepower big V8s through to the triple rotaries and high-tech turbocharged 4s. It's September the 29th and 30th, round 4 of the Grunt Performance Victorian Sports Sedan Championships at Phillip Island, and In Pit Lane and RMI TV Student Television would once again like to say thank you to the Australian Sports Sedan Association for their support of In Pit Lane. Well, we're going to come back. If you can give us a countdown, Pete.
Coming back in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, as we said at the opening of the show, summer is around the corner, and that means drag racing is about to kick off around Victoria once again. As we said, around the regional centres, drag racing is absolutely booming. We have new tracks. We've got very big fields turning up, great entries at pretty much every track, from Mildura down to Portland, across to the new track at Swan Hill, and a whole lot more. But meeting coming up this weekend out at Mildura, and to talk about that and the local scene in general, is Australian Modified Drag Racing Champion. He is Matt Czerny. Matt, welcome to In Pit Lane.
Thanks, Brett. Great to be here.
Now, first of all, let's talk about the Victorian scene, because obviously Calder Park is, we're hoping to have some news on that fairly quickly, a new calendar, but there's some work to be done out there. But what we don't realise here in Melbourne, of course, is the sport is really booming in these regional centres.
It is. Look, the regional tracks such as Portland, Mildura, Swan Hill, they're all great facilities. They offer a great track prep, so everyone gets down the tracks nice and quickly. And fingers crossed, if the upgrades at Calder happen sooner rather than later, which we're all hoping for, that'll complete a really nice circuit for us in Melbourne every year.
Yeah, and that would be something that's really good. I mean, obviously, like somewhere like Mildura is a long way away. I mean, give us your weekend. When will you leave? How long does it take you to get there? And what's your basic weekend up there?
So we try and leave around about midday on Friday, depending on my crew guys on how they're going with work as well. Ray runs a family business and Dave is employed. So, this weekend it looks like we'll probably leave at around about 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. We'll drive through the night and get to Mildura and race Saturday and Sunday. And depending on how we go, obviously it's elimination format. So if we go out early, we'll head home early and we can all go back to work Monday. However, if we make a final or we go a few rounds, we'll head home first thing Monday morning and take Monday off. Yeah.
We went last year to the launch of the plans for that Mildura Motorsport Complex. Of course, the drag strip is already built, but they've got big plans for the future.
They do.
But what's the venue there like at the moment?
It's really good. Look, obviously it's a regional track. They're putting in some big plans where they want to asphalt all the pits and stuff like that. So, if there's a little bit of wind, obviously some dust gets around and stuff like that. But that's most tracks as well. So, we just while we can race there, while the racing's happening, they've got record fields. I think they've got over 180 entries for this weekend's event, which will just pack the joint out.
And that's the interesting thing. If you look at just sort of the economic contribution that something like a drag strip makes to a regional centre like that, as you say, 100 entry people, you're taking a couple of people up. Most people will take up 2 or 3 people, perhaps their family, a few kids and all the rest of it. That 180 people could turn into nearly 1,000 people coming into your area for one weekend, spending a lot of money there that otherwise normally wouldn't happen.
Yeah, and that's what we love doing, supporting the regional cities. Mildura, it's on the banks of the Murray. You can go fishing. We all love to go out for a meal every night. Always good weather, so everyone's happy to spend money and support those regional cities as well as race.
Also, we've got a new track out at Swan Hill. Didn't open all that long. Now, do I understand that Swan Hill the track is actually heated?
Look, they've got heating. They've got some plumbing underneath the track, which will enable the track to be cooled down when it gets warm. Obviously, it gets warm in that part of the country, and they can also, they can cool it down and heat it up if it's too cold. So I'm pretty sure they've tested it, and it's just amazed everyone. You know, it's turned like a 19-degree day and a really cold track into a really warm track, and people can then get down track without having any issues.
I suppose that's the problem in there. I mean, we think about Swan Hill being very hot, but of course, of a night time, things get pretty damn cold out there. So if you can keep that track consistent, that track temperature consistent throughout the day, that's going to give you a lot better runs.
Absolutely, you know, and it can also, you know, ensure that meeting can then run into the night if it is colder, and vice versa, and finish a great weekend.
Okay, well, stay with us. We'll come back with a little bit more in just a moment. But we're going to take a break now on Channel 31. And when we come back, we'll be joined, Matt Czerny will be joining us. We'll have some more news for you. And also joining us live for some music will be Steve Lucas. This is In Pit Lane. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, can we just get a check, Peter, on that timing? That seemed to go very, very quickly. That was supposed to be about 8 minutes. It didn't seem like 8 minutes to me. Just get a check on the timing for that.
On the running sheet it said 6 minutes.
Right, okay, so that was 6 minutes.
6 minutes 30 it was, apparently.
It's not bad.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, well, we'll come back and we'll do that. But anyway, what we'll do now is, I should just let people know, this isn't a television show in terms of what we do live. I found this out, sort of, somebody explained this to me. If you know a thing on YouTube called Twit TV, a tech 24-hour-a-day live tech channel, and they pointed out that, you know, what they do on live on YouTube and Facebook isn't actually the television show. It's actually the behind-the-scenes look at the making of a television show. So, you know, when things go wrong, as they often do in live television, then you get to see all of the good stuff, which is what we're going through now, because, as I said, some of our timing is a little bit off. What I will say, look, we had a fantastic response last week to our brand new set, and we have to say thank you once again to the guys at Slipstream Race Graphics for their support in printing up and installing our lovely new set here on the show. Slipstream specialise in a wide range of sign writing and branding services to bring you, well, a touch of professionalism that any racetrack or business certainly requires, whether it's vinyl cut or digitally printed signs like these to complete car wraps. Now, Slipstream is acclaimed for their work creating motorsport graphics for some of Australia's top races. Now, if you want to find out more, you can contact Scott Williams and his team at Slipstream Race Graphics just to see what they can do for you. And In Pit Lane and RMITV Television would once again like to thank Scott and his team at Slipstream for their great support and assistance in having this lovely set behind us, as you can well see. But right now, we're going to have some bonus music from our guest tonight, who is Steve Lucas. We'll give you all Steve's dates a little bit later on in the program, but he's going to play sort of a bonus song for us now for all of you watching live on Facebook and YouTube. So before we come back to Channel 31, now this is Steve Lucas and Down to the River.
I sought the truth in a bottle. I found trouble and strife. Devil's hand at the throttle sped me on through my life. I was old and bone weary, lost and alone. I carried emptiness in me. I tell you, all hope was gone. But at the end of the day, it comes to what you believe. If you don't like your choices, well, you just pick up and leave. So I wandered the byways, I guessed that I strayed. But I found me an angel, she took my hand, and we prayed. We went down to the river where the water runs wild and free, and the cool pull of the current washed my weary body clean. First time I saw her, she was all dressed in white, looking just like an angel there in the still of the night. She had the gift of salvation and and love of God in her heart. She said, would you be saved, child? I said, where do I start? Ribbons of wonder streamed from my eyes. I felt naked before her, all my sins and my lies. I was awed, I was humbled, I fell to my knees, but she looked right on through me and said, do you believe? We went down to the river, I put my soul, mind at peace. I felt the power and the glory, set my troubled spirit free. Down, down to the river, where the water runs wild and free. The cool pull of the current washed my weary body clean. Down, down to the river where the water runs wild and free. Feel the cool pull of the current wash your wearied body clean. Down, down to the river, put your soul and mind at ease. Feel the power, feel the glory, set your troubled spirit free. Down, down to the river, put your soul and mind at ease. Feel the power, feel the glory, set your troubled spirit free. Feel the power, feel the glory, set your troubled spirit free.
4, 3.
Steve Lucas, and he'll be joining us a little bit later on in the program. Now, before we go back to Channel 31, I'd just like for the people in the control room, I'm just wondering if it might, Pete, if Sean wouldn't mind if we could perhaps move Matt a little bit over here, because at the moment we're sort of working backwards to people. So is that going to mess up anything if we move Matt closer to the front of the desk?
You're happy with that? Yep.
Yeah, if you could just move closer.
You have 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
4 minutes include. Does that include? That doesn't include the song, does it?
Does that include the song 50? I think it's 4 minutes without the song.
4 minutes without that makes sense. Yep, that's okay.
Happy?
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Bill's just moving the light a bit. Yeah, because I'm looking this way and then I'm turning all the way back to there, and I don't twist. So
All good.
okay. Okay, so you happy with that, Bill? Yep. Okay, Bill's happy with that. Sean's happy with that. Linesman, ball boys. We're still coming back. It's too late. Hold on, hang on. No, Bill's saying hold on. He's performing his miracles with the miracle of the lights.
That's Mike. Yeah, that was me yelling.
Oh, that's Mike. No, Mike is yelling. Mike is yelling. Okay. Mike has performed his miracle of the camera and the technical world. Okay, so we're ready when we're ready.
We're coming back in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to In Pit Lane. Well, we're with Matt Czerny at the moment from one of Melbourne's top drag races. And Matt, just quickly tell us about your car and tell us about what is a modified dragster. What does that entail?
Well, a modified dragster can be a supercharged or aspirated dragster. It runs in a category which is dial your own. So essentially the fastest car won't always win. You can nominate your own time and you have to run closest to that time without going under it. And obviously you've got to try and cut a relatively good light, which is leaving the start line preferably before your opponent. So the faster car will always leave second and try and chase down the slower car with the aim of crossing the line first and without going under there.
So what's your car?
Our car is a modified dragster. Runs 7-second ETs at around about 170 mile an hour, and it's a blast. You know, it's unlike something.
So normally aspirated engine?
Yeah, it is normally aspirated. So I've come from a background of running street cars. You know, so working my way up and you know, jumping into a modified dragster where you're sitting low. You know, you can hear every single lifter.
And that's something you
can
can actually do. I mean, you can take, if you've got a really strong engine in your street car, at some stage you might say, no, well, I'll rip that out and put it in a dedicated chassis.
That's right.
And we can go racing, and you can take that right through to a championship.
Absolutely. And, you know, you don't have to have the most amount of horsepower to win. So with that, the other thing with drag racing as well is, you know, unlike circuit racing where there are a lot of rules in drag racing as well, but if you want to put something together, there is more than likely a class that'll take into consideration what you've got to race.
Yeah, so people out there who are, you know, I mean, I think most people would know that if there are off-street meetings,
Yes.
you can go there with your fast street car. And what you see, you used to see it was all sort of Falcons and Commodores and Monaros and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Now when you turn up there, I've seen, you know, McLarens and Lamborghinis and all sorts of weird and wonderful exotica there nowadays, which is a bit of a culture shock to a lot of us.
It is, and like you go out to Calder on a Friday night street meet and you'll see a lot of young guys racing Lamborghinis, Ferraris.
They don't
Porsches.
own any of them, mind you.
We don't know that, but they are quick. They are seriously quick cars, and they're not afraid to give them a blast down the track. And you know, it's a good thing they're doing it on the track and not the street. You know.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That's why it'd be
is.
really great to see. You know, we know that, you know, Calder has been really good over the years to
It
have
has.
that sort of thing in Melbourne, because, you know, it's something that is around the rest of Australia. We call this the sporting capital of Australia, and we don't have a fully operational A-grade drag strip. And we've got Calder, it's 20 minutes up the road. It's fantastic if we can just get it fixed and raring to go.
Look, the guy that's running the track now, Peter Pisley, he's doing a fantastic job, and you know we wouldn't have even had any racing at that track in the last couple of years. It wasn't for him. So
Yeah.
you know, they're pretty close to getting these track upgrades to happen. And once they happen, yeah, it'll be booming again, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then hopefully we can see top fuel drags and all sorts of other things.
Which is the pinnacle of the sport.
Yeah, that's it for sure.
Yep.
Okay, well, good luck on the weekend.
Thank you very much.
And we'll catch up with you hopefully perhaps later in the year and see you out at Calder and other drag strips. But for now, Matt Czerny, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Thank you very much, Brett. Cheers.
Thank you. Now, before we go there, just a quick bit of breaking news. Fans of this year's Bathurst 1000 are going to be in for an extra treat with the news that Ford are going to bring one of their Le Mans winning Ford GTs to the mountain. The fully spec GTE car will be driven by regular driver Ryan Briscoe, and it's expected to given the right conditions, it should run well under the current lap record, possibly under the 2-minute mark. The special runs will be part of Ford's big Bathurst marketing push, which will celebrate the end of the Falcon era. So that's something for people heading up to Bathurst. You can see a genuinely quick purebred GT Le Mans car running around the mountain, and it will be worth the price of admission just to see that. But as we said, we're going to take us out tonight. We've got some music from Steve Lucas, a Melbourne singer-songwriter, and he plays around the place. You can see his dates there. He's at the Cherry Bar on the 23rd of September, and every second and fourth Sunday, and October 26th with Epic Brass at Mimo's Music Hall. But right now he is here in this very studio, and he's going to take us out with a song. So until we see you all next week, for all of us here at In Pit Lane, it's good night, and here's Steve Lucas and You're Too Young. Good night.
Can I start that again? I fucked up. Sorry. You know nothing of the cost. You cannot comprehend the loss. All the sacrifices that were made, the life we lived loved in vain. We fought for civil liberties, for freedom and equality. Tore the fabric of their lies. We sold our souls to pay the price. You're too young, but you're too young to know. You're too young, you're far too young to know. We thought the truth would set you free. The line would walk and all the blind were gonna see. We lost our path along the way, and from that path you should never stray. You're too young, you're too young to know. You're too young, you're far too young to know. You're too young, you're too young to know. You're